I never thought I'd be standing in a dark hallway at 10:11 p.m. with my 3-year-old son asleep in my arms and 2 hastily packed suitcases at my feet. The cold metal of my phone pressed against my ear as I listened to the automated voice telling me the number I was trying to reach had blocked my calls. My sister, my only sibling, my supposed best friend since childhood, had shut me out completely. Let me back up. My name is Emma, and until 6 hours ago, I thought I had a safety net. I thought family meant something unbreakable. I was wrong. When my husband Derek left us 8 months ago, I was drowning in medical bills from Ryan's asthma treatments. Derek claimed he needed space and couldn't handle the pressure. What he really meant was he couldn't handle being a father to a child with health issues. He disappeared to Florida with his new girlfriend, leaving behind nothing but unpaid bills and empty promises. My parents offered their guest house, the converted garage behind their colonial home in Massachusetts, as a temporary solution while I got back on my feet. Family takes care of family, my father said, squeezing my shoulder. My mother nodded along, though her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. My sister Olivia lived in the main house with her husband and their perfect, healthy twins. She had the master bedroom I grew up in, redecorated with cream-colored walls and golden accents. Every Sunday dinner, she'd talk about her interior design business, her husband's promotion, or the twins' latest milestone while I sat quietly, feeding Ryan his allergy-safe food that I'd prepared separately. Emma needs to pull herself together, I overheard Olivia tell my mother one evening in the kitchen. It's been months. She can't expect to live in the guest house forever. I pressed my back against the hallway wall, my heart racing. She's trying, my mother whispered back. It's not easy being a single mother with a sick child. We all have problems, Olivia said sharply. Dad's retirement fund can't support her forever. Besides, her constant neediness is stressing everyone out. I slipped away before they could see me, swallowing the lump in my throat. That night, I updated my resume and applied for 5 jobs. 2 weeks later, I landed an interview at a marketing firm in Boston. The salary would be enough to afford a modest apartment and Ryan's treatments. The interview went brilliantly. They loved my portfolio and experience. As I walked out of the building, my phone rang. Mrs. Wilson, this is Boston Children's Hospital. Your son Ryan was brought in 20 minutes ago with a severe asthma attack. He's stabilized now, but I didn't hear the rest. My mind went blank as I ran for my car. At the hospital, I found my mother sitting beside Ryan's bed. His small chest rose and fell steadily beneath the thin hospital sheet. What happened? I demanded, dropping my purse on a chair. He was playing outside with the twins, my mother explained, not meeting my eyes. The pollen count is high today. We didn't think. You didn't think, I corrected her, keeping my voice low to avoid waking Ryan. You know he can't be outside on high pollen days without his medication. My mother's face hardened. Olivia was watching all 3 children. She can't be expected to remember everything about Ryan's condition. She has her own kids to worry about. The unspoken message was clear. My child was a burden, an inconvenience to their perfect family dynamic. I took a deep breath. I got the job, I said. We'll be moving out as soon as I find an apartment. Relief flashed across my mother's face before she could hide it. That's wonderful news, honey. Your father and I are so proud. That night, after bringing Ryan home from the hospital, I started apartment hunting online. Most places wanted first and last month's rent plus security deposit. Money I wouldn't have until after my first few paychecks. I'd need to stay with my parents for at least another month. The next morning, I found Olivia sitting at our parents' kitchen table. She looked up from her coffee as I entered. How's Ryan? She asked, her tone neutral. Better. The doctors say he'll be fine. She nodded, then slid an envelope across the table. I found this realtor. She specializes in affordable housing for single parents. Thought it might help. I took the envelope, surprised by the gesture. Thank you, Olivia. The guest house was always meant to be temporary, she said, standing up. It'll be better for everyone once you have your own place. I bit back my initial response. I start the new job next week. We'll be out of your hair soon, she smiled thinly. That's great news, Em. Really great. For the next 3 weeks, I threw myself into my new job. The commute was brutal, an hour each way, but the work was engaging, and my coworkers were supportive. I found an apartment 20 minutes from my office. It wasn't in the best neighborhood, but it was clean and had 2 bedrooms. The landlord agreed to let me move in with just the first month's rent, with the security deposit split over my first 3 months. We're moving this weekend, I told my parents over dinner. Ryan was playing quietly in the living room with his toys. So soon? My father asked, looking genuinely surprised. I found a place that works with my budget, I explained, and it's closer to work. That's wonderful, my mother said, reaching for my hand. But you know you're always welcome here if things don't work out. I noticed Olivia's slight frown before she smoothed her expression. Where exactly is this apartment? She asked. When I told her the neighborhood, her eyebrows shot up. Emma, that's not a safe area. It's what I can afford right now, I said firmly. We could help, my father offered. A loan to get you into a better neighborhood. No, I said quickly. Thank you, but I need to do this on my own. That Friday, I worked late to finish a presentation. My parents were watching Ryan, as they often did when I had to work past daycare hours. I texted that I'd be home around 9. I was exhausted but satisfied as I pulled into my parents' driveway at 9:45 p.m. The main house was brightly lit, and I could see silhouettes moving behind the curtains. Music drifted through the air. They were having some kind of gathering. I walked to the guest house, noticing several unfamiliar cars parked along the street. As I reached for my key, I realized something was wrong. The lock had been changed. Confused, I tried again, jiggling the key in the lock. Nothing. I stepped back and called my mother. No answer. I tried my father. Straight to voicemail. Finally, I called Olivia. She picked up on the 3rd ring, party noises loud in the background. Hey, I'm outside, I said. The key to the guest house isn't working. There was a pause. Oh, right, she said, her voice artificially bright. Mom had the locks changed today. There was some issue with the old ones. She should have told you. Can someone bring me the new key? I've been working all day and I need to get Ryan to bed. Another pause. Longer this time. Ryan's already asleep in our guest room, she said. Mom thought it would be better if he stayed over since you were working so late. Something in her tone made my skin prickle. Olivia, what's going on? Why would Mom change the locks without telling me? Look, this isn't a good time, she said. We have people over. Dad's retirement party, remember? The one you said you couldn't make because of work? I'd completely forgotten. I'm sorry about missing the party, but I still need to get into the guest house. All our things are in there. Can we talk about this tomorrow? Olivia asked, impatience creeping into her voice. The guests... I just need the new key, Olivia, I interrupted. Then you can get back to your party. She sighed heavily. Fine. Wait there. 5 minutes passed, then 10. The night air grew chilly, and I hugged my blazer tighter around myself. Just as I was about to call again, the main house's back door opened. My father stepped out, his face flushed from wine. Emma, he said, approaching me with a strange mix of guilt and resolve on his face. We weren't expecting you tonight. I told Mom I'd be home around 9, I reminded him. Dad, what's going on with the locks? He glanced back at the house, then lowered his voice. Your mother and I think it's time for some tough love, Emma. You got the job. You found an apartment, but you're still here, still depending on us. I stared at him in disbelief. "I'm moving out this weekend. You know that." "We've heard that before," he said, not unkindly. "Sometimes people need a push to do what's best for them." "You're locking me out?" My voice rose despite my efforts to stay calm. "Where am I supposed to go tonight?" "You're a resourceful girl," he said, patting my shoulder awkwardly. "Maybe a friend's place, just until the weekend. Ryan is welcome to stay with us until you're settled." "I want my son," I said, my voice shaking with anger. "Now." My father's expression hardened slightly. "He's asleep, Emma. Don't wake him just to prove a point." Before I could respond, Olivia appeared at the back door. "Dad, the Hendersons are asking for you," she called out. "We'll talk tomorrow," my father said, already turning away, when everyone's had a chance to cool down. I stood there, stunned, as he walked back to the party. Through the windows, I could see people laughing, raising glasses and toasts. My parents' friends, Olivia's friends, people who probably had no idea what was happening just outside. I tried the guest house door again, uselessly. Then I walked around to the window of Ryan's room and peered in. His little bed was empty, covers neatly made. I felt a surge of panic. Where exactly was my son? I marched to the main house and knocked loudly on the back door. A woman I didn't recognize answered, wineglass in hand. "I need to see my son," I said, trying to look past her into the house. "I'm sorry," she said, confused. "I think you have the wrong house." "I'm Emma, the Wilsons' daughter. My son is inside." Recognition dawned on her face. "Oh, you're the daughter who—" She trailed off, clearly uncomfortable. "Let me get Olivia." She disappeared into the crowd. Moments later, Olivia appeared, her smile tight and forced. "Emma, please don't make a scene," she hissed. "Ryan is fine. He's sleeping upstairs in the guest room." "I want to see him," I insisted. "Lower your voice," she warned. "You're embarrassing everyone." "I don't care," I said. "Let me see my son or I'm calling the police." Her eyes widened. "You wouldn't. Try me." She grabbed my arm and pulled me inside, away from the curious eyes of the party guests. "Fine, but be quiet." We climbed the stairs, passing more guests who gave us curious looks. Olivia led me to the guest bedroom at the end of the hall and opened the door. Ryan was indeed asleep, his small form barely making a bump under the plush comforter. His favorite stuffed dinosaur was tucked beside him. "See?" Olivia whispered. "He's perfectly fine." I moved to the bed and gently stroked his hair. He stirred slightly but didn't wake. "I'm taking him with me," I said quietly. "Where exactly are you planning to go?" Olivia asked. "It's nearly 10 o'clock. That's not your concern." "It is if you're planning to drag my nephew around in the middle of the night with nowhere to stay." I turned to face her. "Why are you doing this? What have I ever done to you?" Something flashed in her eyes. Anger, resentment, maybe both. "You have no idea how exhausting it is," she said in a low voice. "Always being compared to you. Emma the smart one. Emma the creative one. Emma who needed all the attention because she couldn't handle life's challenges." I blinked in confusion. "What are you talking about? You're the successful one. The one with the perfect family. The beautiful house." She laughed bitterly. "I worked for everything I have. Nothing was ever handed to me. But you just expect everyone to drop everything and help poor Emma whenever she has a crisis." "My husband abandoned me and my sick child," I reminded her. "That's not exactly a cry for attention." "There's always something with you," she continued, as if I hadn't spoken. "Always some drama, some reason why you need more help, more support, more understanding than anyone else." I stared at my sister, this person I'd grown up with, but apparently never truly known. "I'm going to wake up Ryan," I said finally. We're leaving. And going where? She challenged. A hotel if I have to. With what money? We both know you're barely making ends meet. I reached for my phone. I'll figure it out. Mom and Dad want you to leave Ryan here until you're settled, Olivia said. It makes sense, Emma. He has his own room here, a routine. Why disrupt that just because you're feeling stubborn? A chill ran down my spine. Are you suggesting I leave my son behind? Temporarily, she emphasized. Just until you've had a few weeks at the new job, saved some money, properly set up the apartment. That's not happening, I said firmly. I gently shook Ryan's shoulder. Hey, buddy, wake up. We need to go. He stirred, mumbling in his sleep. I gathered him in my arms, blanket and dinosaur included, and he instinctively wrapped his arms around my neck, still half asleep. This is ridiculous, Olivia hissed. You're acting like a child. No, I said, adjusting Ryan's weight in my arms. I'm acting like a mother. I brushed past her and headed for the stairs. The party had quieted somewhat, and several guests watched curiously as I carried my sleeping child through the living room. My mother emerged from the kitchen, her expression shifting from hostess smile to alarm when she saw us. Emma, what are you doing? She asked, hurrying over. Leaving, I said simply. Since that's what you wanted. Not like this, she whispered fiercely. Not making a spectacle in front of everyone. You changed the locks without telling me, I reminded her. Did you expect me to just disappear quietly? My father appeared at her side. Emma, let's talk about this tomorrow, he said, glancing nervously at the watching guests. There's nothing to talk about, I replied. I'll send someone for our things tomorrow. I walked out the front door, Ryan still sleeping against my shoulder. The night air was cool, and I realized I had no jacket for him. I carefully placed him in my car's back seat, buckling him in as best I could without waking him fully. As I closed the car door, I heard footsteps behind me. Olivia stood on the front lawn, arms crossed against the chill. You're being irrational, she said. Where are you going to go? You can't afford a hotel. I didn't answer. Instead, I took out my phone and snapped a picture of the guest house with its newly changed lock clearly visible in the porch light. I sent the photo to Olivia with a simple message. Why would you do this to us? I watched as she took out her phone, saw the message, and typed something quickly. My phone dinged with her reply. I looked down and read the 2 words on my screen. Don't bother coming back. I stared at my sister, standing there in her designer dress on our parents' perfectly manicured lawn. She stared back, unapologetic. In that moment, I realized she had known about the lock change all along. She had probably suggested it. You're making a mistake, she called as I got into the driver's seat. I paused, one foot in the car. No, I said clearly. I made my mistake 8 months ago when I trusted family to be family. I got into the car, started the engine, and drove away from the house I'd grown up in, away from the family that had decided we were a burden to be locked out, rather than loved ones to be supported. In the rearview mirror, Ryan slept peacefully, unaware that his world had just changed again. As I reached the end of the street, I realized I had no idea where we were going. But I knew one thing for certain. We weren't coming back. I drove aimlessly for 20 minutes, my mind racing with panic and hurt while trying to maintain a calm exterior in case Ryan woke up. My bank account had exactly $487. My first paycheck wouldn't come for another week. Not enough for a decent hotel for more than a couple of nights, especially in Boston. At a red light, I scrolled through my contacts, assessing my options. Most of my friends had drifted away after Derek left, either taking his side or simply vanishing when my life became a complicated mess of medical appointments and financial stress. Then I saw Melissa's name, my college roommate. We hadn't spoken in months, but she had texted on my birthday with a simple, "Thinking of you," Hope things are getting better. I hesitated, then hit call. She answered on the fourth ring, her voice thick with sleep. Emma? Is everything okay? I'm so sorry to call this late, I said, my voice finally cracking. I need help. 30 minutes later, I pulled into the driveway of Melissa's small Cape Cod in Framingham. She was waiting on the porch, wearing flannel pajamas and a concerned expression. Thank you, I whispered as she helped me carry Ryan inside to her spare bedroom. I don't know what I would have done. That's what friends are for, she said simply, bringing extra blankets. Real ones, anyway. After settling Ryan, I sat at her kitchen table and told her everything. The lock change, the confrontation, Olivia's text. They locked you out? Melissa's voice rose in indignation. While having a party? Who does that? Apparently, my family. I stared into the mug of tea she'd made me. Olivia thinks I'm being dramatic and needy. Like Ryan's health issues and Derek abandoning us were choices I made for attention. Melissa reached across the table and squeezed my hand. You're the strongest person I know, Emma. Anyone else would have crumbled months ago. I shook my head. I don't feel strong. I feel terrified. What if I can't do this on my own? You're not on your own, she said firmly. You have me, and I have a perfectly good spare room you can use until your apartment is ready. I can't impose. It's not imposing when it's offered freely. She smiled. Besides, Matt is away on a business trip for the next 2 weeks. The house is too quiet. For the first time that night, I felt the tension in my shoulders release slightly. Thank you, I said again. Stop thanking me and get some sleep, she ordered gently. Things always look clearer in the morning. But morning brought a new crisis. Ryan woke up confused and frightened in the unfamiliar room. Then he started wheezing. We'd left his daily medication in the guest house. I need to get his meds, I told Melissa as I tried to keep Ryan calm. His rescue inhaler helps with acute attacks, but he needs his daily preventative. I'll drive you, she offered. No, I need to do this alone, I said, already dreading the confrontation. Could you watch Ryan? I'll be quick. She agreed, and I drove back to my parents' house, rehearsing what I would say. The party cars were gone, the house quiet in the Saturday morning light. I parked on the street and approached the front door with determined steps. My mother answered, still in her robe, coffee cup in hand. Surprise flashed across her face. Emma. I need Ryan's medication, I said without preamble. And some of our clothes. She stepped back, letting me in. We were worried when you didn't call. Where did you go? As if you cared, I said, moving past her toward the stairs. You locked us out, Mom. In what universe is that showing concern? It wasn't supposed to happen like that, she said, following me. You weren't supposed to come home during the party. We thought you'd call, and we'd explain the situation. What situation? I turned to face her. That you decided to force us out without warning? That you'd rather throw your daughter and grandson onto the street than have an honest conversation? You're being dramatic, she said, her voice hardening. We knew you had options. Friends, co-workers. We just needed to push you to use them instead of relying on us indefinitely. 8 months, I said. 8 months after my husband abandoned us and my child was diagnosed with a chronic illness. That's your definition of indefinitely? Your father and I didn't sign up to raise another child at our age, she said. We love Ryan, but not enough to be inconvenienced, I finished for her. Where's Dad? Golfing, she said. He thought it would be better if he wasn't here when you came back. And Olivia. At home. She thinks you overreacted last night. I laughed bitterly. Of course she does. I went upstairs to the guest room where Ryan had slept. His dinosaur was still on the bed. At least I'd remembered to grab that last night. I found his medication on the nightstand and put it in my purse, I need access to the guest house, I said when I came back downstairs. All our belongings are there. My mother hesitated, then went to a drawer in the kitchen and pulled out a key. Your father didn't want me to give you this, she admitted. He thought you should come back when you'd calmed down so we could talk properly. There's nothing to talk about, I said, taking the key. You made your position very clear. The guest house felt different as I walked through it. No longer a temporary home, but just a place that held our possessions. I grabbed Ryan's favorite blanket, his stuffed animals, and enough clothes for both of us to last a few days. As I was packing, I heard the front door open. Mom said you were here. I turned to find Olivia standing in the doorway, arms crossed. Unlike my mother, she was fully dressed, hair and makeup perfect even on a Saturday morning. I'm just getting our things, I said, continuing to pack. Don't worry, I'll be gone soon. Where did you go last night? She asked, her tone somewhere between accusatory and curious. Why do you care? Contrary to what you think, I don't hate you, Emma. I zipped up the suitcase with more force than necessary. You have a funny way of showing it. Don't bother coming back? Really? She had the grace to look slightly ashamed. I was frustrated. You were making a scene at Dad's party. Because you locked me out of my home. It wasn't your home, she corrected. It was a temporary solution that was becoming permanent. I lifted the suitcase off the bed. I told everyone I was moving out this weekend. My apartment is ready. I just needed 2 more days. We've heard that before. When? I challenged. When have I ever broken a promise to this family? She didn't answer directly. Look, this doesn't have to be a dramatic severing of ties. Mom and Dad still want to be part of Ryan's life. I still want to be your sister. You stopped being my sister the moment you decided I was a burden rather than someone who needed help. I moved toward the door, suitcase in hand. Family doesn't lock family out. She stepped aside to let me pass. You're not the only one with problems, Emma. Did you ever think about how your situation has affected everyone else? Mom and Dad are exhausted. They should be enjoying retirement, not raising another child or worrying about medical bills. I never asked them to pay Ryan's medical bills, I said, stopping in the hallway. Not once. But they did, didn't they? She said knowingly. Last month when you were short, and the month before that. I felt heat rise to my cheeks. They offered. I'm going to pay them back. They're too nice to ask for it, Olivia said. Just like they were too nice to tell you it was time to leave. So I had to be the bad guy. I always have to be the bad guy. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Then I remembered standing in that hallway last night, locked out with nowhere to go. You know what the difference is between us, Olivia? I said quietly. I never wanted to be the center of attention. I just wanted support during the worst time in my life. And you couldn't even give me that. I brushed past her and walked out to my car. As I loaded the suitcase, I noticed my father's car pulling into the driveway. He got out, golf clubs in the trunk, and watched me uncertainly. Emma, he called, approaching slowly. Your mother said you came back. Just for Ryan's medication and some clothes, I said, closing the trunk. Don't worry, I'm leaving. That's not... He sighed. This got out of hand. We didn't mean for it to happen this way. How exactly did you think it would happen, Dad? That I'd find the locks changed and think, oh well, guess I'd better get my life together. We thought you'd call, he said, echoing my mother. We would have explained that we were doing this for your own good. My own good, I repeated. Funny how what's for my own good always seems to align with what's convenient for everyone else. That's not fair, he protested. We've supported you through everything. Derek leaving, Ryan's diagnosis, the job hunt. And now you're done, I said. Message received. Not done, he insisted. Just transitioning to a different kind of support, one that encourages independence rather than dependence. By changing the locks without warning, while having a party, he at least had the decency to look embarrassed. The timing was unfortunate. The timing was deliberate, I corrected him. Olivia knew I wouldn't make a scene if there were guests around. She miscalculated. My father glanced toward the house, where Olivia now stood on the porch watching us. Your sister is protective of this family. No, she's protective of her image of this family, I said. And I don't fit into it anymore. Maybe I never did. He reached into his pocket and pulled out an envelope. Here, he said, holding it out, for the security deposit on your new place. Consider it a housewarming gift. I stared at the envelope but didn't take it. I don't want your money, Dad. Please, he said, still extending his hand. Let us help this one last time. The words "one last time" hung in the air between us, as if there was an expiration date on family support, as if love came with conditions. Keep it, I said finally. You might need it when you're older, and Olivia decides you've become too much of a burden. His face fell, and for a moment I regretted the harshness of my words. But only for a moment. I need to get back to Ryan, I said, opening my car door. Wait, he called as I got in. When will we see Ryan again? I paused, keys in the ignition. I don't know, Dad. That depends on whether you and Mom decide we're worth the effort. As I drove away, I caught a glimpse of my sister and father standing side by side in the rearview mirror, watching me leave. Two people I'd loved my entire life, now strangers in familiar bodies. Ryan was feeling better when I returned to Melissa's house. She'd kept him distracted with cartoons and toast cut into dinosaur shapes. Did you get everything you needed? She asked as Ryan ran to hug my legs. Enough for now, I said, bending down to give him his medicine. We can get the rest when we move into the apartment. She noticed my expression. That bad, huh? Worse, I admitted. They think they're teaching me some valuable lesson about independence, as if I haven't been trying to stand on my own feet this whole time. Their loss, she said firmly. Now who wants pancakes? Ryan's face lit up. Me? With chocolate chips? Is there any other kind? Melissa winked at him. As they headed to the kitchen, my phone chimed with a text. I expected it to be from my mother or Olivia, perhaps an apology or further justification. Instead, it was from my new landlord. Had a pipe burst in your unit. Repairs will take 2 to 3 weeks. Sorry for inconvenience. I sat heavily on the couch, staring at the message. Was the universe determined to test me at every turn? Melissa found me there 10 minutes later, still looking at my phone. Emma, the pancakes are ready. I wordlessly handed her my phone. She read the message and sighed. Well, she said after a moment, looks like you and Ryan are staying longer than we thought. Good thing Matt loves kids. I can't impose on you for weeks, I protested. Watch me, she challenged with a grin. Besides, Ryan has already reorganized my refrigerator magnets into dinosaur shapes. I think he's settling in nicely. For the first time in what felt like forever, I laughed. A real laugh that bubbled up from somewhere deep inside me. Thank you, I said, for being the family I chose, rather than the one I was born into. Always, she promised. Now come eat pancakes before your son convinces me that chocolate syrup is a basic food group. The next 3 weeks were a blur of adjustment. I threw myself into my new job, determined to prove I could support Ryan and myself without anyone's help. Melissa and her husband Matt were incredibly supportive, refusing to accept more than a token contribution toward groceries despite my protests. Save your money for the apartment, Matt insisted. Besides, Ryan is teaching me all about dinosaurs. Did you know the Stegosaurus had a brain the size of a walnut? He's made you watch that documentary 12 times, I pointed out. And I learn something new every time, Matt said with a wink. My parents called twice. Both times I let it go to voicemail. Their messages were awkward attempts at reconciliation without actual apology. We should talk. And let us know how Ryan is doing. Olivia texted once. Mom and Dad miss Ryan. Don't punish them because you're angry with me. I didn't respond. The wound was still too fresh. The betrayal too complete. Each night, I'd lie awake wondering if I was being unreasonable. Then I'd remember standing in that hallway with nowhere to go, my sleeping child in my arms, and my resolve would harden again. Your family called the house phone, Melissa told me one evening as we prepared dinner. Your mom wanted to know if you and Ryan would come to Sunday lunch. I concentrated on chopping carrots. What did you tell her? That I'd pass along the message, she said. It's not my place to accept or decline for you. I set down the knife. Do you think I'm overreacting? Being too harsh? Melissa considered this. I think families are complicated, and I think what they did was cruel, whether they meant it to be or not. But holding on to anger takes energy you could use elsewhere, she said gently. I'm not saying forgive and forget. Just consider what kind of relationship you want with them moving forward, for Ryan's sake as well as yours. I nodded slowly. I'll think about it. 2 days later, my landlord called with good news. The apartment repairs were complete. We could move in that weekend. Ready for our new adventure? I asked Ryan as we packed our few belongings. He looked up from his dinosaurs, his small face serious. Will Grandma and Grandpa visit us? My heart twisted. Maybe someday, I said carefully. Right now, it's just going to be you and me. And Aunt Melissa and Uncle Matt, he added. They'll definitely visit, I promised, touched that he'd already incorporated them into our family circle. The apartment was small but clean, with a tiny balcony overlooking a park. The neighborhood wasn't as bad as Olivia had implied, mostly working families and young professionals. I spent Saturday setting up Ryan's room with dinosaur decals Melissa had bought as a housewarming gift. On Sunday morning, as Ryan and I ate cereal at our new IKEA table, my phone rang. My father's number flashed on the screen. I hesitated, then answered. Hello? Emma, he said, sounding relieved. I wasn't sure you'd pick up. What do you need, Dad? I asked, trying to keep my tone neutral. We'd like to see you and Ryan, he said. Your mother made pot roast, his favorite. I closed my eyes. I don't think that's a good idea right now. Emma, please, he said, his voice unusually emotional. It's been almost a month. We miss you both. You should have thought about that before changing the locks, I said, the words coming out sharper than I'd intended. There was a long pause. We made a mistake, he said finally. A terrible, thoughtless mistake. We were trying to help you move forward, but we went about it all wrong. It was the closest thing to an apology I'd heard from any of them. Is Olivia going to be there? I asked. No, he said. She and James took the twins to his parents for the weekend. That made the decision easier. What time? I asked. 1 o'clock, he said quickly, as if afraid I'd change my mind. And Emma, thank you. I hung up and looked at Ryan. Want to see Grandma and Grandpa today? His face lit up. Yes. Can I bring Rexy to show them? Of course, I said, referring to his newest dinosaur toy. Go get him ready. As he scampered off, I wondered if I was making a mistake. But I couldn't keep Ryan from his grandparents forever, regardless of how I felt about them. We arrived at my parents' house at 1:15 p.m. My mother opened the door before we could knock, her expression a mix of anxiety and hope. You came, she said, then knelt to Ryan's level. And look how big you've gotten. I brought Rexy, Ryan announced, holding up his toy. He's a T-Rex, but friendly. Well, we can't wait to meet him, she said warmly, ushering us inside. The house smelled of pot roast and freshly baked bread. My father emerged from the kitchen, wiping his hands on a dish towel. "There's my guy," he said, smiling at Ryan. "Want to see what Grandpa got you?" As Ryan followed my father into the living room, my mother touched my arm. "You look good, Emma. The job must be going well." "It is," I said, still stiff. "The apartment, too." She nodded. "I'm glad. We've been worried." "You didn't need to worry," I said. "We're doing fine on our own." "Emma," she said, her voice low and urgent. "What we did was wrong. I knew it was wrong even as we were doing it. I let myself be convinced it was for the best." "By Olivia," I guessed. She didn't deny it. "Your sister has strong opinions, but that doesn't excuse our actions. I'm sorry, Emma, truly sorry." The simple apology I'd been waiting for, delivered without qualifications or excuses. I felt something tight in my chest begin to loosen slightly. "I'm not ready to pretend everything is fine," I warned her. "I'm here for Ryan's sake. He needs his grandparents in his life." "We'll take whatever you're willing to give," she said, "and we'll earn back your trust, even if it takes time." Lunch was surprisingly pleasant. My parents focused on Ryan, asking about his new room and his friends at daycare. I found myself relaxing slightly as the meal progressed, sharing carefully edited details about our new life. As we were finishing dessert, Ryan's favorite apple pie, my father cleared his throat. "We have something for you," he said, pulling an envelope from his pocket. I tensed, remembering the last envelope he'd offered. "Dad, I told you I don't want your money." "It's not money," he said. "Just open it." Inside was a key. I looked up, confused. "It's a new key to the guest house," my mother explained. "We want you to know you're always welcome here. Both of you." "We're not asking you to move back," my father added quickly. "We know you need your independence. But if you ever need a place to stay, or just somewhere for Ryan to spend time with his grandparents, it's there." I turned the key over in my hand. "Thank you," I said finally. "But I need you to understand something. What happened that night? Being locked out, having nowhere to go, that's not something I can just forget." "We don't expect you to," my mother said. "We just want a chance to be better, to be the parents and grandparents you both deserve." I nodded slowly. "One step at a time," I said. After lunch, Ryan fell asleep on the couch while watching a movie with my father. I sat with my mother at the kitchen table, nursing a cup of coffee. "How are things with the new apartment?" she asked. "Good," I said. "The neighborhood isn't as bad as Olivia made it sound. There's a park across the street, and Ryan's daycare is just a 10-minute walk." My mother hesitated. "About Olivia, she means well, in her own way." "Does she?" I raised an eyebrow. "Because from where I stand, she's been trying to push me out since the day I moved into the guest house." "Your sister is complicated," my mother said carefully. "She's always felt she had to work twice as hard to get half the recognition. In her mind, you were always the favorite." I nearly choked on my coffee. "Me? The favorite? That's ridiculous." "Is it?" my mother asked. "Your father bragged about your grades, your creativity. When you went to college, he told everyone who would listen that you got a scholarship." "Olivia went to a better school," I pointed out. "And she married well, has the perfect career, the perfect children." "All of which she pursued with single-minded determination," my mother said, "because she thought that's what would finally make her the favorite." I sat back, processing this new perspective. "That doesn't excuse what she did." "No," my mother agreed. "Nothing excuses that. I'm just trying to help you understand her a little better." We were interrupted by the sound of the front door opening. I froze, recognizing the sound of Olivia's voice in the hallway. "Mom? Dad? We came back early because the twins were..." She stopped abruptly as she entered the kitchen and saw me sitting there. "Emma," she said, her surprise evident. "I didn't know you were coming today." "Obviously," I said, tension returning to my shoulders. "I should go." "No, stay," she said quickly. "The twins would love to see Ryan." As if on cue, her children burst into the kitchen, followed by her husband James. They stopped when they saw me, clearly sensing the tension. "Aunt Emma." Sophie, the bolder of the twins, ran forward to hug me. "Where's Ryan? Can he play?" "He's sleeping," I told her, returning the hug despite myself. "Maybe next time." James nodded politely in my direction before tactfully suggesting the twins check the cookie jar to see what Grandma had baked. As they scampered off, Olivia sat down at the table. "I didn't know you were coming for lunch," she repeated. "Dad didn't mention it when we called this morning." "It was a last-minute decision," my mother said, her eyes darting between us. "I should check on those cookies." She hurried after James and the twins, leaving Olivia and me alone. We sat in uncomfortable silence for a long moment. Finally, Olivia spoke. "How's the new apartment?" "Fine," I said shortly. "How was your weekend?" "Shortened," she sighed. The twins got homesick. Another silence fell. I could hear Ryan's soft snores from the living room, punctuated by the excited voices of the twins discovering cookies. "I'm sorry," Olivia said suddenly, the words tumbling out. "For what happened that night. For the text. For a lot of things." I studied her face, looking for signs of insincerity. "Are you? Or are you just sorry I'm actually standing up for myself for once?" "Both, maybe," she admitted. "I never thought you'd really leave like that. I thought you'd call Mom or Dad, work something out." "You didn't leave me much choice," I reminded her. "I know," she said. "I was angry, frustrated, but I shouldn't have taken it out on you and Ryan. Mom told me you're doing well. The new job, the apartment." "We are," I confirmed. "No thanks to you." She flinched slightly at my tone. "I deserve that." "You deserve a lot worse," I said. "But I'm trying not to hold grudges in front of Ryan. He loves his aunt and cousins, despite everything." Olivia's eyes glistened with unexpected tears. "I do love him, Emma. And I love you too, even if I've been terrible at showing it." "Love isn't supposed to hurt like that," I said quietly. "It's not supposed to leave you stranded with nowhere to go." "I know," she whispered. "I don't expect you to forgive me right away. Or ever, maybe. But I want to try to be better. To be the sister you deserve." I thought about what my mother had said about Olivia always feeling second best. It didn't excuse her actions, but it helped me understand them a little better. "It's going to take time," I said finally. "A lot of time." She nodded, wiping away a tear. "I'm patient, and I'm not going anywhere." Just then, Ryan appeared in the doorway, rubbing sleep from his eyes. "Mommy?" I heard Sophie and Max. "They're here," I confirmed, opening my arms to him. "Want to say hello?" He nodded eagerly, then noticed Olivia. To my surprise, he went to her and gave her a hug. "Hi, Aunt Olivia. I live in an apartment now. I have dinosaurs on my wall." Olivia hugged him back, her expression a mix of surprise and gratitude. "That sounds amazing, buddy. I'd love to see it sometime." Ryan looked at me, eyes hopeful. "Can Aunt Olivia and Sophie and Max come see our new home?" I met my sister's gaze over his head. In her eyes, I saw regret, hope, and the silent acknowledgement that the choice was entirely mine. "Someday," I said carefully, "when we're all ready." Ryan accepted this with a nod and ran off to find his cousins. Olivia and I remained at the table, the space between us filled with unspoken words, past hurts, and possible futures. "Thank you," she said, "for not shutting the door completely." I stood up, gathering my purse. I learned something important that night, standing in the hallway with nowhere to go. I learned that sometimes the family you choose is more reliable than the family you're born into. But I also learned that I'm stronger than I thought. Strong enough to set boundaries. Strong enough to forgive, eventually, but not forget. "I wouldn't expect you to," she said softly. As I called for Ryan to say our goodbyes, I realized something had shifted inside me. The hurt was still there, the betrayal still fresh, but alongside it was something new. A quiet confidence that whatever came next, Ryan and I would face it together, and we would be okay. In the car driving home, Ryan clutched the new dinosaur book my father had given him. "Are we going back to Grandma and Grandpa's house next Sunday?" he asked. I considered this. "Would you like that?" He nodded. "And maybe Aunt Olivia and the twins can come too?" I reached over and squeezed his hand. "We'll see, buddy. One step at a time." As we pulled up to our apartment building, I looked at the modest entrance with new eyes. This wasn't where I'd expected to be at this point in my life. It wasn't the future I'd planned, but it was ours. A home we'd built from necessity and determination. "We're home," I told Ryan as we walked up the stairs. "Our home," he corrected me, his small hand in mine. "Yes," I agreed. "Our home." I unlocked the door, thinking about keys and locks, about doors closed and opened, about the night I'd stood in a hallway with nowhere to go, and how that moment had forced me to find my way forward. As Ryan ran ahead to check on his dinosaurs, I placed my parents' spare key on the counter. I wasn't ready to use it yet, but I was keeping it. A reminder that sometimes the way back is just as important as the way forward.